Hi, and welcome to week two, as well as the first really big week to kick off our 6 week Belly Bliss masterclass. So, last week you should have started your supplements, got your trackers ready, started reading through and getting yourself ready to go. And hopefully, you're starting to feel a little bit better already from the supplements. But now we're going to really dig into the protocol. So, this is the first of the 5 steps, and remove is the step. So what remove means really is that we need to look at removing things that could be contributing to upsetting our guts. So food obviously is a big one, and that's one we'll spend a lot of time on, but medications and supplements can be doing that too, and as well as stress. So there's a few different areas we're going to cover. Food is the one that is most within our control, so we're going to spend a bit more time on that. It's just important to be aware that sometimes medications and supplements that we need to take for other reasons can still cause some gut issues. So you can't always remove those, but being aware that that's what can happen is definitely a good place to start. So when we remove foods, so things like alcohol, caffeine, processed foods, sugars, things that are deemed as more inflammatory foods, we can remove those. We're reducing the trigger for our body to feel more inflamed. We're reducing the work that we're asking our body to do. So in many cases, reducing a lot of those foods is the first step in starting to heal, because you can't heal if your body's still required to do the work. And then, as I mentioned as well, stress, unfortunately, it can be a huge driver to gut health, because it causes so many imbalances internally. So a lot of times reducing some of the inflammatory foods helps with managing stress as well. So we're going to dig into that a little bit more. Again, you can see all of this in your lessons, but just think about which ones apply to you and which ones you feel are within your ability to make some changes to. A lot of times when we get into it, we sort of look a little bit deeper to see if food's actually causing a lot of the challenges. So I want you to take a look at the list of symptoms and either check off or circle or make note of the ones that you might suffer from or experience. The gas, bloating. Some people have asthma, lung issues, chronic pain, chronic illness, autoimmune, headaches. The list goes on. But take a look and see if any of those are regular offenders for you that you can feel. Make note of that. And the thing too is, a lot of times people say, well, I don't have any food allergies, which is great, because allergies there's a hard line there, and you have a strong reaction and you cannot have that food. But unfortunately, a lot of people do have sensitivities, and sensitivities can still be really challenging, especially with your gut health, but not necessarily show up on an allergy test. And some of the most common things are milks, dairy products, sugars, gluten, certain grains, and that's because those are inflammatory based foods. So if your body is sensitive, those foods can trigger inflammation easier and faster than other ones. And so naturally, if you remove those, you're again giving your stomach and your gut a chance to heal and recover without needing to do all that work. And a lot of those foods are a result of the enzymes that we don't have anymore. So as I mentioned in the first week, digestive enzymes can be a huge part in replacing the enzymes that you need. But for now, we want to talk about removing the foods so that your body can continue to heal. So this week, we're going to look at any foods that you think might have sensitivities. So you can see in your worksheet, there's a note. Write down any foods that you either know you have a sensitivity to, but if there's ones like when you eat it, you feel bloated or gassy, or your energy's white, or you sometimes have skin reactions. Some people have very clear reactions, but there's other areas that you can feel sensitivities from. I mean, I used to feel sensitivities with dairy and gluten, but didn't really know that that's what was causing it until I moved into the elimination diet phase, which is what I'm going to recommend in a second for you to take a look at, which is removing all of those foods for a certain period of time and then putting them back in one at a time and seeing how my body reacted. Because once you take it out for a little while, if your body prefers to work without it, it will let you know it doesn't like it when you try to put it back in. So take a note of the foods that you think you might have sensitivities to, and just be mindful of that. So keep that in your back pocket. So when we move into the elimination diet phase, now this is this could be its own training, and I'm not looking to make it super complex. I want you to think of the food areas that you think might be triggers, or ones that you, even ones you suspect and really don't want to have to give up, like dairy. Dairy is a hard one, I know. The elimination diet, the concept is to reduce and remove those foods from your diet for 30 days, 2 weeks to 30 days, and then start adding them back in to see how you feel. So take a look at the explanation of the elimination diet on your in your lessons, and see if that feels doable to you. So I'm going to encourage you to, if nothing else, I would encourage you to try to remove gluten and dairy for the next 4 weeks to the best of your ability. Buying almond milk, cashew milk, oat milk, even goat cheeses are better than cow milk cheeses. Sheep's milk cheeses are better because of the lactose. So any of those changes you can scale out. I guess it depends on how committed you are and how severe it feels, your gut health feels to you. So there's no judgment. If you don't want to get rid of these things, don't get rid of them. But if you're looking to give yourself, the full commitment for 6 weeks, then I recommend cutting that, and sugar, refined sugar. And there's going to be natural sugars, but refined sugars are the big ones. Get rid of them. And in about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, depending on how you're feeling, you can start reintroducing them a little bit and see how they feel. But each one you should take for 3 days and not encourage or introduce anything else at that time, because that will give you a true indication of how you're feeling with it. So that's week 2, which is the first week of removing. So we are looking at medications and supplements that could be causing triggers, acknowledging that stress is probably contributing to it as well, and looking at what foods we can remove from our system to try to let the healing begin. Okay, so keep plugging away. Don't hesitate to ask questions in the group. It is normal to have lots of questions, and if you're not sure, about what foods to take out, then check out the elimination diet. You can Google it. It's pretty straightforward, and it will give you a bit more step by step if you need it. All right.